Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today is just going to be a
Beastie Room.
Well, this is going to be the Beastie Room very soon. So what we're going to do, we are today, like I say, this is just going to be a very short video. We've been up against it with time for a moment. We've just had the Bristol show, and at this point in time we are actually getting ready, preparing for the Bristol show. So we're doing this film on the Saturday afternoon. So it's a bit manic, but this here is going to be the new Beastie Room, and we will be starting this on the 5th of August. So not a week today, is it? A week Monday. Yes, a week Monday, and we will be starting a new room. Now the plan is going to be that we are going to try and film as much as we possibly can of the actual build of this new project, and it's going to be quite a timely project, to be fair. So when we first come out, what we're going to do is it is going to be the full width of the garden. So that tree over there in the corner, that conifer on the left and the conifer on the right, they are going to go. So we're going to have to take them out, and then the building will run from the fence to the hedge, and it will be as far back as we possibly can go, and it's going to come out to around about here somewhere. So that will give us a room.
What's the rough dimensions, Dave? Can you remember?
Roughly, it is roughly around about 26 feet, 27 feet long, and it will be around about 15 feet wide. And then height wise, it's actually going to come up probably about 2 foot higher than the fence, maybe a little bit lower, and then that will give us one solid big room. Now our builder is going to be turning up on the Monday, and then what we plan to do is have a concrete plinth running all the way around, and then we're going to build our base to that, and then there'll be piers in the middle to take supports, and then once we get the floor in, then it sides up and away we go. So you would have remembered, or some of you guys would have remembered, I've mentioned about having doing like what they call a garden room, and when we've looked into pricing, these have been astronomically expensive, to the point where it is just ludicrous. And we can basically build exactly the same thing ourselves for probably around about a third to half of the price. So it's going to be a massive difference. It just means that we need to do it ourselves, and it won't have a garden room badge, but we don't care about that. All it needs to do is actually serve the purpose. So this is literally going to be a dream come true for me. I've always wanted a designated building. Now in the past we've converted garages, we've converted bedrooms. Our last one, which was one of our very old videos, we showed the build of our old reptile room, which was a garage conversion, and that was from start to finish. So we've done all of that, but it's in photograph format, because back then we weren't into YouTube or anything like that, and I literally just took photographs for my own benefit, just so I had a reminder of how things went. So we took them photographs and we put them into a collage, and we actually made a video out of that, just to show people, because people were really interested in how we went about it. Now there's many ways of doing this type of project, and one of the most important things that we found over doing them in the past is insulation is one of the biggest problems. We need to be able to keep it cool in the summer and warm in the winter, especially with the rising costs of electricity and things like that. We need to be able to keep the cost down in actually running the room. We also need a decent electric supply, all of this. So all of this will need to run back through to the house. So we've got an electrician on standby who can come in, wire up everything, get it exactly what we want, where we want it. There's been an awful lot of thought and preparation gone into this, in terms of how we're going to go about with plug sockets, We're toying now, we're putting some fans in as well, because we are going to need some form of extraction, because obviously, as you know, we keep mossy frogs and toads and other frogs, so we're going to need to have some way of removing some of that humidity from the room. There is going to be a little bit of humidity in there. We're also going to play around with something that we've been doing for a long time, on and off with different things, is actual heating. Now, we heat our room at the moment to 80 degrees, and that keeps our room ticking over for the vast majority of things that we keep. That being said, we can still do with fine-tuning bits and pieces. So what we're going to be looking at in this build is actually heating our room, but slightly lower. So we'll keep it down between, probably around about between 75 and 80. We're somewhere in the middle there, 77, 78. We're looking at trying to keep it at that kind of temperature, which will cut down our costs. But then what we're going to do is we are going to end up with, we're going to have purpose-built heated shelving, so that we can adjust our shelves with thermostats, and that will give us our what we could call localized heating, which should in theory cut down on some of the expense. So everything we look at is all about trimming away the expense. We need to get it down so it's manageable, so that we can enjoy our hobby rather than it becoming a chain around our neck. So we're looking at doing that. We've also got plans for a completely new style of enclosure. So with that, what we're looking at is when we finally get the walls up and everything else, and we can start putting tanks in, as you've seen in the videos for the last year, much of our spiders have gone into plastic tubs, cereal boxes, all different sorts of things. Now, I know throughout the hobby these enclosures have been used for years and years and years, and many people use them. They're not for me. I prefer to see my glass enclosures, so we will get back to having them like we had in the old place. We had everything in glass pretty much. We still will use the plastic boxes and stuff like that, but it'll be more for maintenance and storage and stuff like that. But our main enclosures, we will go back to having planted, decorated enclosures, which is something I really like and I enjoy doing, and I know you guys enjoy seeing them as well. So it's going to be really important for us that we can get back into that thing, because let's face it, there's only so many things you can do with a plastic box, you know, and it gets a little tiring after a while. So we want to get back to doing the old stuff. It also means that once we start getting built up, half of the room we will put our old exoterras and stuff like that, and we have got a shed absolutely full of exoterras, and I mean full. It is packed to the gunnels. We cannot get in there because it is just floor to ceiling exoterras. We've also got the same amount again outside, which is an absolute horror pit.
Ignore it.
It's an absolute collision of an area, because we had nowhere else to store, so we've got them all stored out here, which means they've been out in the weather a little bit. That won't in effect actually affect them, because they're all plastic framed and they're all glass, so it literally means we just give them a clean up. They look awful at the moment, but we can give them a real good clean up, a spruce up. We'll go back to the old Via kill. We'll Via kill everything, and it brings it up like brand new. So it's really good stuff. Just remember, we've done a video on it, so if you're ever worried about it, watch the video and it will take all your fears away. We've been doing it for years like that. So what we're going to do, we will clean these up, and we're going to put one wall is going to be up, and we will start putting those enclosures in place. And then my plan is to leave the other wall completely empty, and we are going to put custom made enclosures up on that wall, custom made to my own design. And then, all being well, that design we will then market ourselves, and we will then produce and sell those ourselves. That's the plan. That plan is probably about a year away, but we will get ours in place first, and then once we've done that, then we can look at actually marketing them ourselves and doing them ourselves, our own Beastie Room enclosures. That's something I've been wanting to do for the last probably 2 years or more. So that's sort of like in the pipeline. That is taking off as well. We're hoping to do a couple of nice big frog tanks, and we also want to actually incorporate some newer stuff that we haven't got, so different species that we don't have at the moment. This in effect, although it's been really hard work, we've got rid of an awful lot of spiders because we purely didn't have room to keep them. We also took some really hard hits with some species. Some species just didn't like being moved around, they didn't like being in the boxes, and we lost a number of different spiders like that, which was heart-wrenching. It's really hard, especially when you got some of your most favourite stuff. Our funnel webs took a real beating. They didn't do well in the different boxes, even though we kept trying to change them around. They just didn't do well. So we played around with them. We lost a number of them. Other species as well we've lost, mainly fossorial spiders. A lot of fossorial spiders didn't like being in the boxes, so they need that little bit more in terms of an enclosure. So another real lesson learned. It's something we never came across in the past because we've always put them in their forever homes, if you like, so we never really came across that problem. But this has highlighted that problem. You know, they do not like being kept in smaller boxes. They're not so good, and some of that down, I believe, has been down to the depth because they've not been able to burrow in enough, and then also because it's in a small enclosed space, it's very difficult to regulate it, and for some reason some of them didn't do well. One of the species that really proved troublesome was the kraken, the cyan krakens, and yeah, they for some reason or other do not fare well in boxes. So we've got a few, and we've left them in tanks now because they, you know, we lost a couple. So we've been living and learning with all these different things as well, and also just literally everything has been put on hold because we just couldn't carry on the way we were with the space that we had and the spiders. It's been very difficult. So this new room is going to be an absolute godsend. And
markings there and everything.
Yeah, we've actually marked out here. So this is going to be, this will be the external line through here, and then the internal line is here. So actually, if you can see here, it's going to be this width apart, and that is going to be full of insulation. Now, when we do the build, we see, this is something that we picked up on our last build. The floor will be fully insulated along with the sides and the roof. It all needs to be a fully insulated thing. You lose a lot through the floor, and when we done our last build, we used a polystyrene based floor in our reptile room, and that proved really well. But we're going to go up a notch now. We're going to end up with, we're going to use Celotex in the floor and the ceiling, and we're using a new insulation in the walls. I forget the name of it now, but it's like a corrugated stuff. It's really...
With A, we know that.
It's what?
It begins with the letter A.
Yeah, and it's very expensive, but it's but it is something that will actually be worth it. And now, this is one of the things that we've decided to do. We've been planning and saving for this build for an awful long time now, and one of the things that we decided before on the start was we were not going to skimp with things like the roof, the cladding on the outside, because the cladding on the outside we're going to use a plastic cladding, which is very durable, and it will work out really nice, and it'll also give it a really nice look. So we're going to go all out with the insulation. The roof, we're going to put a rubber roof on, so it's going to be a single volume, and it should all be sealed in rubber. This will help to insulate and also give us the best long-term protection for the roof as well. It's very durable, so we can go with that. The floor, the sides, everything is, we have tried to nail down everything as possible, because eventually the plan is once we get this room up and it's full, we're then going to move down the garden. We're hoping to put a pond in here where I'm standing now. This whole grass area here, we're looking at putting a pond in, and then hopefully we can deck the rest of it, and then it will tie together, because unfortunately where we live at the moment, we have got no access to the back garden unless you come through the house. So we have no rear access. So everything has to come through the house. So poor camera lady has had to go without a kitchen for the last year. We have no kitchen really, do we, love?
No.
No kitchen. So we've got to get this done before we can start on the house. So we're under some pressure, aren't we?
We are a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting it in the neck all the time, guys. Get out in that garden, quick. She wants me out of the house. So, yes, so that is where we are. So all of this is going to go. Like I say, we are going to try and film as much as we possibly can. And we will do a step-by-step thing through the build as we get it up and as we go. And then we can knock out the videos showing exactly what we're at, what's, you know, and you'll get a real lifetime as to actually how long this sort of thing will take as well. So we are hoping, fingers crossed, that we will get the first part of the build up within 7 to 10 days. Then the electrician comes in and we can get it all wired up, all inside and everything else. And then possibly another week after that, and then we should be done with a sealed room. And then all we've got to do then is plasterboard it and clean it all up inside. So yeah, hopefully.
To start getting back to breeding the spiders and yummy stuff.
Yep, we can get on with all the yummy stuff. So I am really looking forward to getting back to the breeding. It's terrible because I watch all my friends post stuff up on Facebook and they're all like, oh, I bred this, I bred that, and I'm getting really jealous. You know, it's been a year where we haven't really done much. We have got a few species that are on egg sacs at the moment. I think we've got avics, we've got some vegans on egg sacs as well. We've got a couple that I don't want to mention because whenever I mention it, it all goes wrong. So I'm not going to mention them. And then we've still got some big projects that I really want to get my teeth into. My Sturmy projects, I so want to get stuck into that, but we need to get sorted out so we can do it properly. But yeah, so this is what a little insight as to what is coming, and I hope you enjoy the journey. I am super excited. I can't wait to get started. It's been a long time and I am itching to get going. So a little rundown, keep you guys in the loop so you all know what's going on, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy the future progress of the new Beastie Room. Right then, I shall leave you there, and don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you soon, guys.